I like your hair. Oh, you're ready now. And we're live, by the way. It's on.
Hello, Moonlighters. Happy Tuesday. Today we are going to be working on some more Wood Elves for next month's set, specifically the barbarian character and sister to our Blade Singer. Um,
Yeah,
what did I name her? Zavana, I think. I think it's Zavana.
it is maybe that. I don't
Yeah,
know. You could
I
start by
think.
showing that off. That would make sense.
No, no, this one. This one's Zavana.
Ah,
The other one is Muriel. Oh, let's get the right material going. Okay, here's Muriel. Um,
Muriel's hot.
which we started. I don't think we've. Yeah, I finished it after our stream, but we started it on stream last time. Um,
Yeah.
here's how she came out. I love how she looks when you spin her.
I still think
This,
there's something off about her buttocks, but we'll see
she's
what
off
she
to the
turns out
test
like.
printers.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. Since then, we've also worked on Kaya, who is a fighter, like sword girl.
Fighter
I
sword
don't know.
girl.
I don't know. She has two short swords. I don't know what you call that. Fighter, rogue. I don't know.
Yeah, she could be a rogue. She could be a fighter.
I really like her face and the top armor, and I'm pretty much not sold on anything else. So, also, I was trying to finish working on her at like 1 o'clock in the morning and realized that I had given her arms like her arms were half or two-thirds the size of her body. Like
Oh.
she looked like she had long Elastigirl Gumby arms, and I was just like,
Oh dear.
I was deliriously laughing about it.
I did see a post about that on our Discord server. Now I understand.
Yeah, it was. Kara took a screenshot and then exaggerated it and
Oh,
like
okay.
pulled the arms out even worse. But yeah. So here's where we're at on her. She still needs a lot of work, I think, but I'm really happy with the face. I think she's super pretty.
Yeah.
Um, Muriel, I also like her face. We're actually going to be tweaking Muriel's face to do Zavana because they're sisters. So I want to kind of share some.
Twins.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
twins. So I want to share some facial structure between the two of them.
Uh,
Um,
Shredder says hello.
hey, hey, hey.
Long time no see. And Grey Wolf says Reaper hype and highly dynamic pose.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Reaper, woo woo. Um, I've taken my base elf Z-Seer proportions on this rig and I've widened the shoulders and kind of lengthened the torso area for this barbarian character because I want her to have kind of an aggressive upper body stance.
Yeah.
And I want to exaggerate that with the wider shoulders. And she's going to have, I'm actually going to make this center sphere just a little bigger because I want her to have kind of stockier core. Um, but yeah, so now that we have kind of proportions set for her, we'll start on posing and sculpting. But how are you guys today? What have you been working on? How was your weekend?
Yeah. All those things.
All the good things?
Clute says, hey there, Van Pattens.
Hey, hey, Clute. How are you?
Oh, we've solved technical problems with the latest book box. So it's down to a couple minor details, and then those will go out. We were hoping to get two shipped out at once. That's not going to happen, but we'll get the last couple pieces are actually on the printer right now.
What are we talking about?
The Poison Apple Pub, that book box.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Clute says those boxes are so cool. I think he subscribed for a couple months, so he'll be getting this one and the one we're working on.
We've actually been working on the new one uh, for.
Wait, that's not right. There you go. Oh, that's when we were fucking around with colors.
Yeah,
It's the wrong color.
this is the new one that we're working on for the nymph set.
That's going to
Uh,
be a much darker color than that, though, right? The cover. That's the lime
I don't know.
green-ish that we were looking at.
No, no, this is the original one that I did.
Oh, okay.
But
It will
we've
be
got
darker
like
than that.
we've got like 5 different color combinations we're talking about currently. So we're gonna test print a bunch of different covers and see which combinations we like and settle on final color decisions. But
Yeah.
currently, just working with like how we're gonna change the filigree and designs on the cover and working out some basic concepts for the shadow box insert for this one. And of course, we have the new setting logo for this book because the last 2 books
Mm-hmm.
we've released were both Embermore books, so they both have the Embermore logo in them. So this one will be the first one with a new logo, which is Estrella.
Mm-hmm. And then we're going to have to do a Valoria
Do we have
set.
that? Oh, I think it's over by the FDM printer.
Did you
The
steal it?
printout for the
Yeah, I'll
Estrella
find it for
logo.
you.
We actually have that one printed, um, so I can show it to you.
Yeah. I don't know that we have a. Yeah, we don't have any kind of cover, but I can show you the couple things we can show. I'll get them.
Okay.
Okay.
Trying to caffeinate because I had like a crash right now, so gotta work, gotta caffeinate.
So these are separate. Hold them together. See, they're not glued.
So here's the poison apple pub insert, which we finished. You can kind of see the dimension in it there. Which is correct. Like this will still be the Embermore logo here,
Yeah.
and this same filigree and everything. So this will be what the cover looks like for the new book.
Mm-hmm. I'll be assembling those hopefully tonight.
And then this is the logo for Estrella printed out. And this will take the place of where the tree image was in the last one.
It'll probably be smaller than that. I don't know that we'll be
Yeah,
able to fit such
that's a
things.
really big version. We were just test printing and trying out colors, but
We've been getting it where it lines up so the models in the rubbery insert that the models sit in is very challenging to get it where they grab, but not so firmly that they're going to tear paint off if you paint them. Has required multiple failures as we learn to manage that art form. Clute says, you guys put so much effort into your designs. Yeah, that's the plan.
we try, we try.
Bryce says, self-hydrating with dehydrating drinks.
Like you do, like you do.
Bryce says, the new book is awesome, and Clute says, love it.
Thank
It's
you.
it's caused us to definitely be behind on shipping these out, but a lot of it is repeatable, right? Once you have the method for how to do it down, and that takes 2 or 3 releases, that can all speed up a lot.
Yeah. Oh, so many of the books are just like, well, we have never done one of these before, so now we have to set up a whole new
Yeah,
a whole new thing. Uh, but once we have all the setting logos and all the setting covers designs done, then it'll be super easy to just like pop in and out different shadow boxes.
Yeah.
But it's going to take some process.
I think the effort into the design is critical, right? This is a very competitive space as far as volume. And I think if you don't set yourself apart in the quality of your product, you are absolutely going to drown in the sea of cheap knockoffs. You know, there are a whole bunch of phones out there for $50 to $400 or $800, but iPhone still makes a killing because they're the best product. I will never own one, right? It's still a little too locked down for me, but yeah, that's kind of our goal: be the iPhone of miniatures.
God, I hate that.
Well, you want it to be easy to use, right? Like it works right out of the box. You don't have to download anything or modify it. It just works. The models all come already on their bases, primed, ready to paint. Just just works right out of the box.
Yeah, that's fair.
Bryce says no drowning. Well, we are for sure coming up on the point where we have to. Bryce says no drowning. We're coming up on the point that we have to assess long-term viability. So far, it's looking good, but the next few months will be very determining in that. Clute says, which wood elf are you working on right now?
So I'm working on Zavana. She is the sister to this one, Muriel. They're twin sisters. So Muriel is the graceful and elegant blade dancer, and Zavana is the brutish barbarian. She gorilla hands is everything, and
Yeah.
and Muriel makes it pretty.
I think that right foot needs to be displaced to the right. Her feet are too close together. Like the stance would be wider, right? You've got her kind of. You have her like this.
Other way, other way.
Okay, sorry. You have her like this, and I think it would be better like this.
Drop the knee in.
Well, kick the ankle out. Like that should be a plain. You wouldn't stand. You're not gonna. You want her to not be dainty. So, like a guy, you would command more space. You stand with your feet further apart. You claim a larger area.
Okay.
Bryce says, model for everyone, Kyle. He wants to know if we've been packing yet. Yes, a lot.
Yeah, we've literally bought thousands of dollars of storage bins as we pack up the entire garage,
Not
and we
thousands of dollars, but about $1,000 worth of bins. Not
probably
multiple thousands.
it's a lot of money
It's a
on
lot of money.
storage bins.
Yeah. But that's going to solve storage solutions for us once we move too, so that's good. I would take that other leg and kick it out at the hip just a little bit as well.
This one out. I'm worried about footprint on the base. I don't want to go too far out.
I think we'll be okay. Like she can be pretty far out on the base, and that foot being up on the rock gives you the opportunity to have that rock jut out to one side too, if need be. But you don't want knock-kneed effect, and you kind of have that a little bit right now. Maybe, yeah, like that. And then rotate the knee outward. Ankle to the left. Ankle rotates outward a tad. Other outward. Yeah, like that. We'll get you to model for it after the end. It
No.
says, I was looking at a, I was looking at Marvelous Designer for clothing simulation, but oof, you have to be a bit of a seamstress and have some knowledge of clothing patterns and sewing in order to take full advantage of it. Well, that's good. I mean, as they get more realistic, that's positive. The downside is scale. There's a lot of things that even you do in your miniatures, which I think a lot of artists don't do intentionally, but uh, folds. The reality is the way that fabric falls on a miniature, if it fell that way on a whole person, even the most dainty, frail fabric would be like 2-inch thick felt. It would be, there's no way it would bend and fold that way, but it would look wrong scaled down. You would the folds and creases would look really bad.
Yeah.
So I think it's great for like 75 scale mini minis. Wow, I can't talk today at all. 75 millimeter scale. I think the cloth simulators start to have some good effect.
Yeah, or like busts or stuff like that. I think it'd be useful.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, honestly, like I haven't played with it myself, but just from um, other people I've watched playing with it, I was like, maybe it's okay as like a starting point, but definitely doesn't work for.
Trying to figure out which way the shoulders would twist. I'm listening to you.
Well, this hip is up, so this shoulder has to be down.
Yeah, so down and back a little bit, right? Because I'm talking about the rotational twist of it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so if that one goes forward, this shoulder goes back, you get a good view of the front and the back at the same time.
That's you're doing like some kind of Captain Morgan shit right now.
I don't know
That's
what
not
Captain
at all
Morgan
the
is.
vibe. Captain Morgan.
Oh,
The
gotcha. Right. I'm
You're
not.
like, haha.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not even focused on that. I'm just saying if the pelvis should be at this angle, and the shoulders at this angle, and then the head back at this angle. Captain Morgan.
Yeah, it's like a yatta.
Yeah, it's much more dynamic. It was interesting. So this wasn't done stream, but we were having a discussion about contrapposto and sorry, counterpasta. One of the things that we were looking at was traditionally in art school, both high school and college, you're taught contrapposto in a very traditional left slanted line, right slanted line, left slanted line, right slanted line going up throughout the piece. And I made the observation that that's a very two-dimensional perspective. And if you're really going to emphasize that, what it really is, all joints being uh, having a rhythm of a back and forth nature. And that's not always a leaning, but should also be a twist. And I'm standing here, I'm like, so like, if you're sitting here and you're doing a traditional, just basic, I'm standing here and I've got my left, right, left, right, left, right, like contrapposto. Uh, it would also make sense to have a rotational contrapposto where your hips are turned one way, your shoulders are turned opposite of that, your head is turned back, and your body goes through this back and forth at each one of your limb segments. And Christy goes, so like David, you're doing the David pose right now. And I realized when she said that. Oh yeah, I am. That is the David pose. And then that was an epiphany moment for me to go back and look at all of his work, especially his later stuff, where he absolutely started implementing that on everything. So his early stuff doesn't have it, but at some point in his career, he had this same epiphany of contrapposto should not just be from one angle, there should also be this top down contrapposto of rotating left and right. And all of his stuff after that breakpoint implements that. So we want to start pushing that in models as well. I don't know that it's perfect for every model. Like it might not be ideal for this one. We'll see. But whenever you find a new cool thing, you want to do everything with the new cool thing.
I'm using this bodybuilder girl for my reference because I like her very leveled, wide shoulders and her
Mm,
like really solid core. Like her core just feels really stable and muscular.
yeah,
And then I like how you were talking about where the hips, like at the actual hip divot, it's narrow, but then the legs kind of
yeah.
bubble out from
You're
there.
gonna
So
exaggerate that, I assume, for
yeah, so
miniature. Yeah,
I
like you've
just wanted to
got
show
here.
you guys kind of what I was looking at for reference here. So let's talk about like this is now our second month in the same setting.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of crazy.
That's kind of been the goal to double it up 1 month after the other, right? We did 2 Embermore sets, and then we only did one Estrella set and jumped over here, but we also did 2 Embermore.
That's true.
We just really needed to fill this gap in our line. Of all the gaps to have, you missing mostly human females is a really big, egregious fault, right? Like that makes no sense. Of all the things for you to be missing, that doesn't seem like it.
Of all the ways you yanked my ears.
All the ways you yanked and pulled my ears.
Yeah,
All the times. That was it. All the times you yanked and pulled my ears.
that is true. Um, I think I'm still struggling a bit to kind of get into what it is that people like about Wood Elves, because I have never once been tempted to play just like a normal Wood Elf. I've also never played a human, so um oh, Valandar subscribed. Thank you, Valandar. Afternoon, afternoon. How are you doing? Welcome in.
Hey, Valandar.
So I guess that's my question to you guys. Have you played a Wood Elf before? And if so, why? What was the draw?
Bonus if it was a female wood elf.
You making more coffee?
I am, in fact, making more coffee. Let's see. Valandar has subscribed for 15 months.
Oh, I didn't see that. I couldn't see anything other than just like
He's
subscribed.
subscribed. Yeah. Uh,
But that's awesome. Thank you, Valdar. Yeah, as always, love and appreciate the support.
Clute says, I don't know about anyone else, but for him, there is something both alien and familiar about playing an elf in D&D. Valandar says, I played a Wood Elf back in 2nd edition, and back then, for some reason, Wood Elves not only had a bonus to Dex and a penalty to Con, but also had a bonus to Strength and a penalty to Con. And unlike D&D, 5'2" elves in 2nd edition, Wood Elves were 6'6".
Right, yeah. We actually talked about that because I was like, "Hey, honey, did you know that wood elves are supposed to be like shorter than humans? We're not doing that, are we?" And he was like, "No, we're not doing that." I was like, "Okay,
Yeah,
good. I'm glad we're on the same page." Because I read that and I was like, "That's ridiculous."
yeah, it's ridiculous. Uh, Bryce says, hello everyone, hello Phalandar, the red.
Hello, hello.
Kelly Goblin says, I've played humans before. It's a different take to play the underdog when they have so little racial perks, but halflings and gnomes are my favorite.
Halflings and gnomes. Yeah, I one of my all-time favorite characters is a gnome. I've never played a halfling, but
Yeah.
gnome is definitely high on my favorites list.
Well, they were short in 1st edition as well. I don't
What
know
else?
why. Elves in general. Yeah.
Oh,
1st and 2nd edition elves were short. 3rd edition, they got tall. He's saying in 2nd edition, wood elves were 6'6", but I don't know. My player's handbook said that they were like 5'4" on average or something like that. Ah, Phaelander, so specifically wood elves were tall in 2nd edition. So that would have been out of the elves handbook. That makes sense. Clute says he thinks wood elves and wild elves in his world are damn near Dark Sun elves.
what's the difference? I've never played Dark Sun.
Everything in Dark Sun is evolved. So Dark Sun played very heavily on evolution and what happens if it's kind of a what if, right? If the world became, if global warming went to an extreme, most of the planet turned into desert, there was very little habitable land left, and everything became fiercely fought over. Uh, Nothing weak survived, right? So, like, gnomes aren't there anymore. There are no gnomes. They're not fast enough. They couldn't get away.
What's
Predators
so
would just
sad?
eat them. Uh, Half breeds, like half giants, where they're small enough to not have to eat a ton, but big enough to be much more competitive than a human. Those become prolific. Um, Things like Thrycreen that don't need armor because metal is always pretty much entirely gone. Uh, and of course, they have their insects, right? They can survive in the desert just fine. Uh, Oh, that's right. No, they did have elves in Dark Sun. Or, I'm sorry, halflings. Halflings were cannibals. Yeah,
What?
halflings turned into cannibals. Because, food. And halflings, they're not going to go hungry.
That's crazy.
Clute says, it's like if Dune and Dungeons and Dragons made a baby with Mad Max.
Oh god, that sounds horrifying.
Kelly Goblin says, I can see it. Yeah. So they were, it's it's that post-apocalyptic feel in Dungeons and Dragons. And it's not just everything turned Mad Max, everything turned very dictatorial, very structured. And lots of slaves, right? Which society, if you look at history, tends to happen. Slavery comes back even if it's gone anytime resources become scarce.
Yeah.
So uh, lots of slavery involved in Dark Sun, which is probably why there will never be a fifth edition Dark Sun.
Yeah. It's a bit controversial.
Mm-hmm.
Internship.
Internship, yeah. Uh, in first and second edition Dungeons and Dragons, psionics were a trait that you could roll for, particularly in first edition. Psionics was a trait out of the Dungeon Master's Guide, the not even advanced, just the regular thing that you could roll percentile dice, and on a very low roll, you were kind of screwed and made extra vulnerable to psionic creatures. On a very high roll, you were still very vulnerable to psionic creatures, but you got some cool psionic powers. Um, those they played off of that, which is naturally the people that have psionic powers are going to survive.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, that makes sense.
because you're just stronger, and all of the things that are uh, all of the monsters and things that are psionic based for the most part would die out. So it would go unchecked in humans. Um, so there's a whole class based off of it, and everybody has psionics. You roll a character, you get some psionics. Kelly Goblin says, never discount the little guys, extremely resourceful. Flute says, yeah, magic broke and they started using blood magic. Yeah. Valandar says, the two ways to use magic, slowly and carefully draw a little bit of energy from everything in 30-foot radius and take 3 to 4 rounds to cast a single spell, or drain all vegetation, vermin, and small animals within 30 feet and cast it normally. And overuse of the latter is why Dark Sun is a desert.
I feel like I would be a problem in that in that world, like, because that would absolutely be my go-to. I'd be like, I'm not fucking waiting.
Yeah.
Everything is dying. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. It's absolutely right. And it's a commentary, right? It's a commentary on modern society and how our desire to have it right now causes us to have a disregard for our environment, and also just a commentary on people. Like you said, you're not going to be in the middle of combat casting a spell slowly to avoid killing a few squirrels.
Yep. No. We were actually just talking about this the other day because we were watching something about Star Wars, and I was like, hey, who would you be in the Star Wars universe? And he was like, who would I be, or like who would I want to be?
Yeah,
I was like,
those are
well,
different things.
just tell me both. So he was trying to think about it, and I was like, for me, I feel like whether or not I went to the dark side would just be entirely dependent on like what had happened in my life up until that point. Like there's no like I would absolutely be part of the rebellion. I think I could have just as easily been like lieutenant of like Sith
Right.
Lord or something like whatever. Like
Not a Sith Lord because you wouldn't have the patience, even to be, even to be, to turn to be a Dark Jedi. You would not have the patience for that.
probably not. Probably not. Kyle decided he would either be a droid or
Yeah.
or somebody like Luke Skywalker, which like definitely checks out. Kyle is definitely the altruistic hero archetype, whereas I am not.
Balandar says, what annoys me are the people who try to be all edgy and claim they would be great Jedi and be superior to both Jedi and Sith, when canonically it was literally impossible. See, I have a very different take on that from most people, given the modern set of movies. I get the impression that, yes, canonically, at that period, that was impossible. But I think that was always the point of bringing balance to the Force, is that you were supposed to have some of both. And the Jedi versus the Sith were uh, they were very black and white, whereas in reality exists in the realm of grays. And I felt like that was Lucas's original point that he was trying to get to, but first he had to show the staunch,
What the
rigid
extreme looks
structure.
like.
Yeah, you were looking at the absolutes. Valandar says the thing is about the Jedi weren't supposed to be so absolute. Right, and that's the point, right? Like, the Jedi, as portrayed in the first three movies, in 4, 5, and 6, were very, very rigid, absolute, structured, and to the point that they were making moral mistakes in the name of being moral. And reality should have been somewhere between the two, whereas the Sith were absolutely just vile, selfish, immediate gratification at the expense of others. The Jedi were too far the other direction. I don't know. Too rigid, too structured. Right, exactly, Valandar. And so I think Luke was supposed, or maybe even his father, were supposed to bring balance back by bringing the Jedi back from this precipice of extremism. Oh, she's coming together pretty good. Valandar says the entire irony and hypocrisy of Obi-Wan saying only a Sith deals in absolutes was intentional by Lucas. I'm glad that that was intentional because I for sure saw it.
I didn't even think about that line, but it's totally true. Very ironic.
Valandar says, I see a half moon horizon. I see trouble on the run. I can't sing. I won't do that to people. You sing it, Christy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What?
I said I don't know what you're talking about.
That's not possible. Rubicon says, do you have concept art for this one handy? Can you show the concept
Oh,
art?
kind of, yes. Uh, Here's the mood board that I put together for the set. And in this corner,
Mm-hmm.
we have uh, inspiration for the barbarian. So this was the sketch that I initially did for her, just like exploring different poses and stuff. And I included the female Wolverine. What was her name? X2 or X10 or something like that.
I don't know. Sure.
The one, this is not the same one because this one only has two claws. The one that I was thinking of has like all of her fingernails are
Oh,
are the adamantium
you're
claws.
thinking of the.
Was like the
Well, she was played by that Asian girl
yeah,
in
she did
Wolverine 2. Yeah.
the slasher thing. I think she's X10. I don't know.
X-23 is what Valandar
23.
says.
Okay, 23.
Lady Deathstrike.
Yes, Deathstrike. Thank you. Um, which I think she was slightly better in the movie than she was in the cartoon, but that's debatable. Um, so I don't know who this drawing is. Maybe it's supposed to be her, but with less
That's not supposed to be Deathstroke.
talent, or she's
No.
just like a gender bent Wolverine. I don't know.
Yeah. That's
But
fan art of a Wolverine, I think.
but that was kind of the vibe. Like I wanted to kind of harness that really primal uh barbarian rage, but
Oh,
in a female.
Clute says that's X-23, Wolverine's daughter.
Oh, okay. Huh. All right. So Lady Deathstrike and X-23 are not the same? Is that what you're
Correct.
saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Um, so I wanted to kind of introduce this really interesting dichotomy with her pose and her expression and her body type all being really, really aggressive and um, primal,
Yeah.
and then do very elven jewelry on top of her.
Where most barbarians go for the torn, tattered look, we
Yeah, I
didn't
don't want it to
figure
be
that an
tat.
elven barbarian would be tattered, right? Just because
Yeah,
they're feral in nature doesn't mean they somehow lost the art of making
beauty.
clothing or jewelry. Like,
Yeah. So I don't want to make her stuff tattered. I think I just want to have it like some very nicely worn clothing, kind of like we did for Muriel. Like Muriel is obviously just in cloth. She doesn't have like armor, like metal armor, but
right.
it's all very intentionally made and intricately done. So I want to do something similar to that for the clothing sections and then add in some jewelry.
Minimal clothing, more jewelry.
Yeah. Hopefully that conveys what I was trying to get at.
But we are tweaking the pose from the concept a little bit. Again, trying to emphasize what we were talking about, this rotational contrapposto. And maybe you can show from a top down view of this character what we mean by that.
Well, it's hard because she doesn't have a head, but
Yeah.
but basically, like the legs are going one direction, her torso is going another direction, and then her head will be going back this direction. So you're getting kind of like a stacked
Yeah.
block effect.
Rubigon says the Ranger is going to be super effing cool. Can't wait to see that one.
Yeah, I'll probably work on that one next. We just wanted to do this one because, or we wanted to do this one next, I should say, because uh, people thought that Muriel looked a little too soft and demure, and that's true because that's kind of the point. Um, but she's supposed to be her twin sister, and she's supposed to be like the contrast to this girl. So we figured it's better to show than tell, and uh, easier to explain the relationship if I just sculpt this one next. So
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right, Rubigon. There is no lore for which Valandar is not familiar. He is a repository of knowledge and information on lore. And not like just the generics of it, down to the finite minutia. Valander says contrapposto is based on one of the two rules of posing. The plane of the hip, the plane of the shoulders, and the plane of the eyes should never be perfectly parallel to each other or the ground. Even if standing at attention, there's a slight imbalance.
yeah. But there's a difference between like if I go here, and let's just go back to the very beginning, right? There's a difference between
Did you just undo your entire undo history on this model?
no. There's a difference between this and this, where there's both like a two-dimensional understanding where this goes this way, this goes this way. Why am I doing this in ZBrush? It's so much easier,
Yeah, just
maybe.
pull your sketchpad over.
What? Stop it.
What is it? Shift click hides all the layers, I think.
So like there's shoulders this way, hips this way, right? But then there's also rotational contrapposto where this recedes into space. This comes forward into space. So then there's like more movement back and forth as opposed to just up and down.
Yeah. Looking down from the top of the model would be a good. Yeah, S curve hack for sure, the S curve. But the S curve also, so like if you look down at a model that's standing straight, the shoulders and the tops of the femurs should never be completely lined up, right? Your right shoulder should either be in front of or behind your right hip, at least a little bit. Now, in a miniature, you could exaggerate the crap out of that and it's going to look good. Terrible for casting. If you're sculpting for casting, doing this
Don't
is
do that.
horrific bad. There's a reason that most miniatures from professional miniature companies do not have rotational contrapposto because you have to chop that model into 3 pieces in order to cast it. But when you're 3D printing them, you can get away with all these cool things that you can't get away with for a cast miniature.
I really love giving girls these really like bulky upper arms. I think it's super fun.
Bulky is a relative term. Bulky for a girl.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. I just wanted to clarify for other people. I knew what you meant because we've had that discussion. I do think it's fascinating. Again, I've made this comment several times. As you continue to develop your physique, you develop a greater and a greater appreciation for muscular women.
That's fair.
Once upon a time, going through that art book of Julie Bell, you would have been like, she looks disgusting. Now you're like, no, she's really pretty. She's got a very pretty body.
Yeah. So I also designed these. I'll try to make this a little smaller. These, like if this is her fist, right? Here's her fingers, her wrist, right? Like this is her arm.
Uh-huh.
Then these blades that have like a stabby front part and like a side swooshy
Edge.
slashy part
Yeah.
where she could just like slice your throat.
Mhm.
But I liked that this was still really curvy and elven and kind of delicate,
Valandar says it's
while
called a
still giving her
bladed
like a.
tonfa.
It's called a what?
Bladed tonfa. Tonfa.
I didn't even know it was a real thing. I was just like, I want something that does kind of this thing. That's cool.
Valandar is talking about how the more off balance a pose is, the more it feels like it's in motion.
Yeah, that's fair.
If it looks like it's about to fall, it's good.
You just have to balance that with
Yeah.
stability.
I think that also needs to be, yes, be off balance, but be off balance in a direction that aligns with the current posture and pose of the model, right? Like, we know what someone running looks like. If you just tilt them to the side, they're going to run differently. The legs will be slightly different. How you run when you're turning to cut the ground, right? One leg comes up higher. You tend to cross your right foot in front of your left foot when you're turning. So the pose that you've chosen, you need to make sure you're making the tweaks for the motion you're trying to imply, and then exaggerate it a little bit on miniature scale. Rollerbladers is a really, really good way to look at how somebody moves differently when they're turning. Rubigon says, so like a billy club with knives on it? Kind of, but not. But it would be strapped to the arm, right? The back, that blade would be strapped to the arm back here and up here, so it stayed parallel to her.
So there would be one strap
Because you wouldn't
here.
swing it around like a billy club.
No, there's one strap here, and then there's like a bar that she'll grab that's at the
Yeah.
end. So she'll have her fist to grab the bar between the two blades, and then the strap at the back to keep it attached to her forearm.
Yeah.
I kind of feel super validated that my weapon idea is a real weapon.
Yeah. Even if
You thought I was being ridiculous. You're like,
I
that's
did
stupid.
I did not say that. You thought that I would say that. In fact, you even prefaced showing it to me with, "You're gonna think this is dumb,
I don't think this is dumb,
but I want
but
to
just
do it
hear me
anyway."
out.
Clute says tonfas don't have straps, though. Interesting. The
So they
strap,
just like swing it around.
I don't know. I'm gonna Google bladed tonfa. We'll see. I'll unmaximize this so people can still see your picture. Bladed tonfa. Yeah, very similar to that, except you wanted a second blade on the inside of the hand.
Yeah. That way she could stab. Like when she punches,
Yeah.
she could stab you.
Oh, here's one. Here is exactly what you've described.
Oh, cool.
And this one does have a strap.
Sweet. It's awesome.
So it
Feel
looks
so
like some
happy.
of them have straps. Then here's one without a strap.
Yeah, that one just had, but it's a little bit shorter than what I had in
Yeah.
mind.
And the two front prongs aren't parallel. So here's one. Here's a
Oh,
military
it just goes like
tonfa.
all the way out like a giant knife.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It does look like most of them have straps.
Oh, that one's super cool. It's like looks like an alien gun
Yeah.
or something.
Warframe.
Oh, Warframe. Warframe's awesome.
Oh, this one's got pistols.
And it's also a
Hmm.
gun.
Valandar said some police also call them side-handed batons, and he says they are not normally bladed. Says you can't. It can be used. Carrie Michael Crosby. Hey, Carrie Michael Crosby
Yay.
says in Kabuto you do swing a tonfa. I don't know about bladed ones, but the bashing kind get swung. They originate from a cooking tool.
Frying pans. Who knew?
Clute says, yeah, you swing tonfas around and then rest the back of the blade against the forearm. Some police also call them. Oh, yeah, I read that part. So close, but these would not be designed to swing. These would just be a punching slash. You know, when mixed martial arts first started to be a thing, and I'm trying to think of the name of the blonde kid that did all of the elbow strikes. He just did so many. It looks like I'm going to punch you, but I hit you with my elbow instead. And everybody, with all their boxer training, basically leaned into his elbow, and he just obliterated people. And it's why they ended up stopping elbow strikes because it was just capitalizing on a training issue. So, uh, so if you took that fighting style and put a blade on the forearm that extended back past the elbow, intended to be used for that, that's what this weapon would be. Valandar says elbow strikes are huge in both Muay Thai and Krav Maga.
We're gonna call it an elven tonfa.
There you go. I think we should not call it a tonfa. Because, yeah, it does look like tonfas are like police batons.
So it might give it more of a connotation of like security guard.
And that you're supposed to swing it around. Clute
Gotcha.
says he can confirm that elbow strikes are huge in Krav Maga and Muay Thai.
So then, uh, so Valandar, then how would you stat it, I guess, for D&D? Just like short sword or like
I
other
think,
some other kind of melee weapon?
well, we know in 5.5 they're going to be changing weapons a lot. Like, short swords are no longer going to be a simple weapon. They're going to be making those martial weapons. Um,
I think this would probably qualify as a martial weapon.
for sure it would. Uh, but you can just call it this and give it similar stats to that. So what they're pushing for in 5.5 is that weapons are going to have little bonuses that you can do with them, little extra things. Um, and he talked about like a two-handed mace maybe would have a knockback effect that you could
Oh,
implement, and warriors would be better at it at using those,
that's
which will
interesting.
give them yeah, and that they will have extra abilities that only warriors can unlock, or you could take a feat to unlock those special abilities. So
That
anybody
makes sense.
could use it if you had martial weapons, but if you want to use the extra cool thing from a longsword, then you'd need this feat, or you'd have to have it as part of your warrior class.
That's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, so we'd want to think of something cool and extra besides just a die 8 damage that you could do with this thing. Um,
Maybe like on a like if you rolled high enough, like in the upper numbers of rolling, you could like get an extra slash in. Like if you were punching, you would get like an extra D4
yeah,
slash damage or something like that.
yeah, that could be cool. Or you could use it to parry with, right? So if you decided to forego your bonus action, you could add 2 to your AC like it was a shield.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Carrie Michael Crosby says, in Okinawa, they were not allowed to have weapons by Japan, so they turned normal household items into weapons. The tonfa was a millstone handle.
Interesting. I love learning cool stuff like that.
Valandar basically had the same thought I did, which is in D&D I'd actually make them a die 6 slashing melee, light, and with a bonus to defense if you chose not to make an offhand attack. Yeah, that's exactly my thought. Valandar says, boom. I think that was in reference to us both having the same idea. Carrie Michael Crosby said, thank you, Rubagon. I love his face so much. What did I miss? Oh, Rubagon says, your shimmer scale is looking incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, it is.
It was looking so cool. I've had multiple people sending me your update pictures when they come out, and they're like, "Have you seen it? Have you seen it?" But it looks so good.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen it the final version. If you finished it, I haven't seen the final version.
Eric Jackson says, woo! I love Wood Elves. So we'll come back to that because Christy's going to have questions for you. Valandar says, I say it die 6 because it appears to have roughly the same blade as a short sword and less than a rapier. Yeah. Zach. Hey, Zach. Good to see you. He says, yeah. Hey. He says, Shimmer Sail, goodness, hello, all you wonderful peepos.
Hello.
And Eric Jackson says, women with abs rule.
Agreed. That truer words.
Mm-hmm. Gary Michael Crosby says, aw, shucks. Thanks. Nope, still in progress. Ron shared the latest photos with last Kickstarter update. Yeah, we saw those.
Okay, yeah.
Googled them for a while. Zach says, there are women who don't have abs? Do they flop around at the waist? Kinda, yeah, honestly. Were you wanting a coffee, honey?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I'm gonna finish this thing that I got, but then I'm gonna want another
All
coffee, I
right.
think.
Let's see. What's a good mug for you today? Yeah, this one.
I'm pretty happy with this anatomy. I think it's coming out pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Chocolate everywhere. Okay.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time we work on the face.
To the
She
face,
needs a
Jarius.
face.
She bit me in the face. To the face, Jarius. She bit me in the face.
Oh, this is like the best part of that game.
No one will ever know the reference. I'm not going to tell any more people. I'm going to wait for the day when somebody's like, oh no, I know that line.
Okay, so like we talked about before, I'm gonna use Muriel's head, and we're gonna kind of tweak it some, but I want to make sure that it looks like they could be twins because they're supposed to be twins. Oh, hey!
Hey?
Support Monkey said all the files are moved over and he's printing them today. So
Ooh.
awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic news.
So I'm going back to this girl that we pulled up for muscular reference.
Yeah.
And I like her face because it's also very squared off and kind of like I really like the shape language of her face. I think it really works for
I
this
mean,
character also.
pretty much everything about this woman is muscularly sexy. So that's good.
So what I'm doing is I'm taking Muriel's head and I'm kind of making alterations that kind of align with this other girl's head to bring in some of this character that I like also. So to do that, I'm squaring off this jaw a little bit more. I widened the chin just a tad. I think I might. Well, this isn't going to matter too much because I'm going to have to do the expression, but basically she's going to have a little bit thicker lips. than Muriel. A little bit wider nose. Not that wide. Um, obviously, these are going to be more different based on the expression, but
Yeah,
I want to bring the overall brow ridge kind of
more.
down some for her. There we go. I like this. I think this is starting to work.
Zach says, I just had some cowboy chicken, so I'm energized.
Nice, nice.
Carrie says, yes, yes, we do flop. And she emoji dice.
um, and then I'm going to pull up some
We can't see
reference for
what you got
like
there.
screaming women
Oh,
so we can try to nail this expression, which is going to be the hardest part of this character, I think.
I think you need to add fierce to your search term. There you go.
Yeah, I like this girl. That's kind of good. Oh, I like this one from the side. That looks really good.
I like the girl with the handprint on her face.
Girl with the
The
handprint
black
on
girl.
her. Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of use both of these.
And Zach says the migraine is toning down, so energy is there too. And he says certain types of flopping are good. I suppose it depends on the flopping. I've noticed there are certain personality types that you tend to gravitate towards uh, different ethnicities. And I'm noticing that from your reference material, there's a power that women of African descent have in their facial structure that other women don't have. This
Yeah.
there's a
There's like a fierceness that
not even
I
always
don't think.
fierce. I don't know that that's the right word, but I think power is. There's a yeah, a non a lack of weakness.
Yeah.
Even frail women of African descent don't ever really look weak.
Yeah. So I'm noticing the nostrils flaring out here.
Ooh, this Texas pecan with the chocolate in it is really good.
Yeah, I know. It's one of my favorites. But we never have that
It's what's in your cup
brand.
right now.
I know, but we don't usually have access to that brand.
Yeah, that's
That's why I
true.
picked it up in Victoria.
The nostrils did look flared, and then the last couple changes you made just look like wide nostrils now. I'm not sure what the difference is. Yeah. It's probably the face, the creases. And this is why you are the artist, because I would have just been like, make the eyebrows more V-shaped. And you're like, no, you got to completely change the facial structure. We need references.
Yes. She looks so judgy of you right now. She's just like, what the actual fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's amazing what a difference. I was just thinking it's amazing what a difference the closed mouth makes with this facial expression. The tension of the mouth open for the scream is very makes a really substantial difference, right?
Yeah.
Even just showing the teeth would, but yeah,
The
this looks
intensity
super
is so
judgy.
much more. She was like, what the fuck?
The hell is wrong with you? That's what I'm feeling right now.
This is probably she if she was an older elf, this is the look that they give humans where they're just like, God, are you just that dumb?
You should save this face as is, a super judgy face, because I think it would be so hard pressed to ever capture this image again.
Savannah judgy face parts. I don't know if I should. I don't think I want to give her the same eye color as her sister. Maybe. I don't know. I think the darker.
I think it should be the same color. I think you change the color and it starts to make them look too different, too difficult to identify as twins.
Ooh, that doesn't work. Okay.
It's not a round eyeball.
Because I gave Muriel like these really kind of
Yeah, I like it.
hazy, smoky eyes. Just because I thought it was pretty. And I was like, with elves, you get to do this very dreamy kind of look to them,
Yeah.
this etherealness that you can't do with humans. Oh, that was way too big.
I think the reflection in one eye is a little too high compared to the others. But yeah, it just changes everything as soon as you open the jaw, doesn't it?
Then she's gonna look like a inappropriate doll for a while. Now she's like, oh,
What the actual fuck?
I cannot believe.
Just utter dismay. We've gone from what the fuck to dismay. that's that's abhorrent. Zach says, I didn't just hear you say that. Oh dear. Remember, those should be an oval, not a circle. We've had that problem before.
Yeah, I did.
Well, more oval, I think. Yeah, there you go. Zach says he loves that face on her, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
He says, "Oh no, you didn't." Those the muscle definitions on the cheek will be really important, I assume. I think the angle of the neck stops working with this as well.
One thing at a time.
Yeah, you should be proud of me for making the observation.
I am proud of you. Yes, any kind of extreme expression is difficult, especially on female characters and especially anger. I picked like the worst um, combination of things to attempt on a face. Blech.
Yeah,
Just total disgust now. Now we're at disgust.
I feel like we were at discuss before.
Congratulations, San Francisco. You
Yeah,
ruined
ruined pizza.
pizza.
Couple of good ones here, like this one. It's really conveying that. There's an intensity around the eyes.
Yeah, I think like
This one too. Like being able to see more of the iris.
the way that this comes up to the nose
Yeah.
here. Almost like a second set of eyebrows.
Also, the creases come down well past the mouth along the side here. See? The creases from the nose are coming way down on most of these,
Yeah.
all the way around. Or at least down to it. And yours are kind of tapering off. Oh, no, that wasn't good though, was it? That's bad. No, it was better before. Yeah, there you go. I think the mouth might be slightly too wide, which is making, even though it's open very far from the jaw perspective, it's diminishing the vertical. What did you just do?
Accidentally toggled dynamic perspective.
Ah,
I'm sorry, what were you saying? I was distracted.
oh, I was saying the mouth doesn't look like it's really open scream levels of wide. That might have to do with the placement of the teeth. They might need to go further up into the head. Or it might be that it needs to open more. I'm really not sure. Yeah, it's a little better. But it looks more like she's doing this than this.
I was afraid of going too far, like it would look like a detached snake or something. But
Might
I
just
can
need to
try
take it
to
a little
make it.
further. Yeah, you don't want it to look like a detached snake. Danger Noodle. Shredder has redeemed 10 jump squats.
Okay, just a second.
Yeah, that feels better. That's a lot better.
All right. Let me just save this real fast.
Saving is a good idea. It says, okay, team jump squat time. We can't see your head, but we can see the rest of you. There you go. All right, now we can see you. I'm going to flip that light off while you're up. Here, you already look better, honestly. Look a little refreshed. She says that was good. She needed that. And Valandar has redeemed Hydrate. She had a look of horror. Yeah, we couldn't hear anything you just said.
No, I wasn't horrified. I was like, do I need to sit down or stand up? Hydrating. Thank you, Valandar. You guys looking out for me today.
You've been doing a lot better with your water intake. You were up to 120 milliliters yesterday.
Yeah. Woo-hoo. That's like one of my last big fitness things that I'm like really trying to work on because I'm not good at it.
You're getting better now. That app that you installed seems to be helping, except when you started ignoring it.
Yeah, if you want to get an app, there's one called Get Wet, which is which is why I downloaded it.
Well, that's a name.
I was like, of all the water tracking apps, I have to have that one.
But it plays like a.
Yeah, like a little droplet sound every once an hour.
Yeah.
I don't think I really need to do like a separate tool. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, fill it in. I think the eyes need to open slightly. And currently, you've painted it so it looks like the tongue kind of overlaps the teeth, which is creating an odd effect. Like it looks like it overlaps the teeth on the side. I should clarify.
Ah,
That looks weird.
you look weird.
Yeah, it looks weird. I think when you do that, your tongue doesn't go anywhere near your teeth, right? You don't go like this. You go. And the tongue kind of pulls back and away from the teeth.
All right. Then I just won't.
Yeah, it feels better. Yeah.
This lady has like just a really crooked mouth. I like this one better. Like you're right. This lady's just like screaming. It looks like high
Yeah.
pitched screaming, but not like
Yeah.
yelling.
That's not an intense scream. I mean,
I
it's
wish.
not an I'm gonna kill you scream, I should say. It's not rage. Zach says, war cry. Ooh ah.
Well,
No. No, you did that before and it was not a good
every
time.
time I try, I'm like,
I
well,
do
maybe
think
now.
what you could do is currently you've got the top lip here. Look, you've got the top lip coming down like this. But I think if you're really screaming, comes
Go
back
back,
like this
back more.
crease kind of comes back and up more. Yeah. Like you're going to see more of the sides of the teeth. Up here. Just uncover more of the top teeth. Yeah. Clute says, "Who touched my Cheetos?"
How dare you?
I think a decent amount of it is how you have the pupil drawn on, well, the iris drawn on one eye versus the other. Her right eye, the eyelid covers the entire top part of the iris, which is making it look far less intense than her left eye, where you can begin to see the curve of the top of the iris. I think right eye needs to open just a tad more.
Right.
Other side.
This is right.
That's
Oh,
her
her,
left. Yeah,
her
her
right.
right eye. I mean, you could open both of them a little more, but just uncover more of the iris so you can see it. Give it that intensity. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. It's a minor change, but it sure altered it, didn't it? And I think we are officially past the point that I will be able to see positive versus negative changes until the neck is moved and she has hair. Boy, give her a superhero mask and it really changes things, doesn't it? You still get substantial satisfaction out of successfully implementing uh, emotion and facial expression. Or
Yeah.
is it just becoming more mundane to you now?
No, I think I still always feel like every single time it's like maybe this time I'm just gonna fail. Maybe
Oh,
this time I'm just like I don't actually know what I'm doing. Maybe this time I'll just never get it and it'll suck.
Zach says, licks not Cheeto dust off of fingers. Uh, the neck should not join quite that far forward under the jaw. It should be
Yeah, I'm
going,
trying to get this geometry to not be
okay.
broken currently.
You're like, yeah, yeah, I know. Let me fix the holes.
Yeah, I just don't want it to.
Yes, that's really true, Zach. Zach says, we never completely know what we're doing if we're pushing ourselves to improve.
Yeah, I think we're always trying new things.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time I just feel like maybe I'm gonna fail this time. Even if it's just building on things that I've done a bunch of times already.
Oh man, I love that jaw angle. That swoop. The S curve to it. It looks so good. It keeps her looking fragile faced, but not. I don't know. It's really good. I don't know if that was accidental.
Well, I was messing with it when we first started kind of changing the jawline, but I've since then kind of exaggerated it, so I feel like there's like this, because this
Yeah.
like pops out when you're
Yeah.
that upset.
Yeah,
Gives you
that was
that like,
missing. That was honestly more so than the angle of the neck was the calm, relaxed nature of the musculature of the neck. But I knew when you attacked the neck, you would fix the musculature too. So Zach says he used to have a boss that said, "Fail fast, recover faster." Best boss he ever had.
I'm gonna steal. Which one did I do? Hang on, first I'm gonna save this. One day I'll learn this lesson. Kaya, I did the ears in the head file. The Muriel, I didn't do it, but I really liked these ears. Boom.
Yeah, but sharper, straighter on the top. But that's what I meant by sharper, straighter on the top.
Now she be an elf.
I think the closest to straight we can make the line of the top of her ears, the more it will fit the facial expression. The softness, floppiness of them, I don't think reads well. And curve the bottom one, like right now, the bottom of it is a straight line, but the top is a curve. And I would invert that. Make this top a straight line and put your curve on the bottom. Yeah,
I
because
am changing both, right?
yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
hope so.
I
Because
was like, I would hate that I did this not in symmetry.
I know people even do that. If you watch people when they scream, their ears move back and up, and there's tension that gets applied right to the very front of where the ear connects to the head on the top, and it changes the shape of the top of the ear and makes it slightly more linear. Zach says the curve is where the cartilage ends, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's great. Carrie Michael Crosby says, "Wow, walk away for 30 minutes, come back, and there's a whole awesome vicious face." I agree. She's turning into an awesome vicious face. I think you've nailed the exact perfect amount of curve there. Great job. Do you like it?
I like it. Let's save this. We'll put it into the other file
Give it some
and
hair and see
see
what it looks like.
see what we're doing. Do not fuck with her.
Yeah.
You do not want to fuck with her.
Oh, yeah. This is looking great. kind of hair is she gonna have?
Uh, I think in the concept art, I just kind of had it
Yeah,
wildly flowing.
I think that's good for her. Zach says, kind of posed like a dragonborn from Skyrim.
Dragonborn.
Well, Skyrim has some pretty amazing art, so I don't know what their pose looks like, but that's a good compliment.
I'll take it as a compliment. I'm gonna have to be doing a female dragonborn for Reaper pretty soon.
Zach says Dragonborn is the main character.
Oh, well, clearly I did not play
Right?
Skyrim.
Zach says the main character can speak dragon words of power and come out as shouts with various abilities. Eric Jackson says woot. Well, I haven't heard anybody say woot for a while. Success in my battles with the drug companies. I finally got savings card for a med and work. Took monthly costs from 85 to 25.
Nice.
Shredder says, Fuss road da. Fuss road da. Two road folk no no cho go cho.
Oh, what am I doing?
Oh, what are you doing? Ah.
I'm
What did you do?
so dumb. Okay, there we go.
Ah. Valandar says the Dragonborn is also frighteningly powerful if you ever play Elder Scrolls Online. There, it takes 6 to 10 players working together over 3 full melee sessions, with the dragon flying to a new region between to take down a dragon. And the Dragonborn does it solo.
I basically have no idea what this hair is gonna look like, but just,
Yeah,
just like
it has
something.
some hair now. A little more on top of the head, I think. Eric Jackson says, now I can work on compositing another picture of a painted mini.
Whatever. I'll fix that later.
Yeah.
Um, okay. I'll save this. And we'll give her some hands, I guess.
Hands are good. Useful things to have. I'm digging her face.
Good, because that was like gonna be the hardest part. At this point, I've done so many figures, I just can look at the concept and just be like, this and this and this are going to suck. This is the part of the figure I don't want to do.
Chad is discussing the difference of Power of Dragonborn, talking about Elder Scrolls Online versus Skyrim. But basically
I
saying
did
that
not play any of them.
that Skyrim makes killing dragons seem like a joke, whereas Elder Scrolls Online makes it seem like it would be a really substantial challenge.
So I've never actually fought a dragon in D&D. I've never come across a situation in which I actually had to square off against a dragon. But next month, I want to do a red dragon for Valoria, for an adventure set in Valoria.
Spoilers! You telling all our secrets.
Yeah, that's why people come here.
Yes, the tribe will have a dragon next month.
It'll be the first dragon in
Not
the
next month.
Moonlight
We'll
Minis
be
line.
working on it next month for the following month. Sorry to interrupt. I had to clarify myself.
Right. Next month will be the Wood Elves. We'll be working on the dragon next month to release in July. I've done several, I've sculpted several dragons, but all for other companies.
Yeah.
And, oh, there's my water sign. Drink. But all for other companies. And I just thought, well, I really want to have one that's a Moonlight Minis dragon that belongs to us. And Valoria being the very sort of quintessential high fantasy setting seemed like just a really perfect marriage
Yeah.
of dragon and setting. So I want to do the iconic red dragon of Valoria. But that means I gotta learn. I gotta learn some stuff about dragons.
Right. Oh darn. Gonna have to watch some about dragon videos. Maybe give them the same hairstyle.
I don't think the top knot would work very well for this character.
Doesn't the other one have two? Doesn't she
No.
have two
She has
ponytails?
the
Pigtails?
top knot
Oh,
and then she has the two braids.
yeah.
And
Maybe
I think
just,
it's too girly for it's too ballerina-y for
yeah, maybe not the top knot, but the two side braids you could do. Keeping it similar, where, like, things that imply they're the same, I think, are strong because they're very different, which is good, but showing the similarities, I think, is also good.
where's my there it is.
You remember how long it used to take you to get to that point for a hand? Like
Which hand is this? This is
her right hand.
right hand. Yeah. It used to take me forever.
Clute said, like they're still talking about Skyrim. Heck, Clute says, we had a DM in HS that used to
High
throw,
school.
oh, high school, that used to throw an ancient red dragon at us all the time. Open a door, red dragon. Find a cave, red dragon.
That's that's gonna suck.
Yeah. I know early on when I was like 13 trying to DM a game, very little understanding of any of that. I remember just basically going through the monster manual for one of my friends. Like, okay, now you're fighting this. Okay, now this thing comes up on you. Okay, you find his treasure. Let's roll the
Just
treasure you found.
the
Yeah,
whole friggin' thing.
yeah, that was all it was. There was no role play. There was no anything else. It was just like, okay, you found this. And then he'd kick its ass and be like, okay, let's roll and see what treasure you got. Okay, cool. Now there's a hill giant. Now there's a storm giant. Played quite badly, obviously. Right? Like, you get this much XP. Boom. Clute says, yeah, that sounds like the games he ran. Yeah, just in mine, there was no dungeon door. Right? There was no, you found a mountain, you found a cave. It was just, you're fighting this now. I don't know. We both had fun, so I guess that's what's important.
I wish I had played D&D when I was little. I would have had so much fun.
Oh, your dad would have lost his mind. Satanic panic in its fullest, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, that was not a thing in our house. I'm pretty sure my mom still doesn't understand what I do for a living.
No, and your grandmother still thinks it's satanic. So I remember those conversations. Shredder has redeemed hydrate.
Alrighty.
I think you're rotating the hand the wrong direction. I think if anything, like the classic
It would be
Wolverine
more
poses don't go more like this,
it'd be
right?
more
They
out like
go
this, right? Yeah, this looks better.
Wolverine does this, which you don't want to go that far,
Right, you just want like
but don't turn it this way. That looks weird.
yeah, more angled that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I was just struggling to kind of wrap my head around
Yeah.
this forearm thing, but
He said it was usually red dragon or drow that he would throw at them all the time. I think you could rotate it a little more. I think even a little bit more.
what?
Yeah. Because how you've got that arm. No, I mean up on the green. I think
I
we're
did
talking about
go up
different
on the green
rotations.
twice.
Okay, there. That's good.
3 times
That's
now.
perfect. That's great. I like this pose a lot. I was worried Like when we were first talking about this, I was worried that the rotational contrapposto wasn't going to be so good for this one, but I think it's working better than I thought it would. Honestly, even better than I hoped it would. I think it's really selling it to me. It gives her a lot of coiled power with that right hand, whereas the initial sketch didn't give her much uh, room to strike. It was more like a Lion King, like up to the top of the hill and roar out over the whatever. This feels more like she's about to fucking right hook you. It's not gonna feel good. I think having a really cool S curve to this is going to be having this be very dainty and elegant is going to be important. Thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the point. Yeah. Good job, honey.
Hey, I'm just trying to get you to verbally engage because you get really quiet when you get where you're at mentally.
I'm sorry.
You're
I do.
focused.
I kind of get in the zone.
Mm-hmm. Why inflate? What's the advantage of doing inflate versus just scaling it up right there?
Because scaling it up uh, maintains the really hard edges, and inflate kind of rounds out the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the softer. It keeps me from having to do it by hand because I used to
Yeah.
go like inflate each edge of the bands, and now I don't have to do that. I just do a center line and then I hit inflate and it rounds the edges for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now you could do the same thing with a Dynamesh with a smooth edge, but
Just much
this
more
is
efficient
simpler.
than
Yeah.
my old
One
method.
step instead of 2 to 5 or 8.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the idea of doing a dragon for our line? Are there just so many dragons that we don't need more? Or is there room for a super cool dragon? Do you want more dragons in the world? Or are we dragoned out? Rough competition, right? Because Reaper's got some pretty fucking badass dragons. Like
They really do, yeah.
you're
It's hard.
you're putting on those boxing gloves and jumping in that ring and going ding ding toe to toe with Julie Guthrie at that point. Like that's a
Like in front of this girl, it's really not where you want to find yourself.
exactly my thought. Yeah, that's a. I think that's one of those where if you can come out of there without getting your ass completely stomped, like it, you don't have to win. You just have to like last more than 9 seconds, right? You don't want to be the guy that got in the ring with Tyson and went down in 8 punches.
Right.
And it was really just one punch. It was like 7 to like Jab, 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 jab. Just kind of set you up, feel you out. Nah, okay, boom, you're done. If you can make it to the second round, you're in good shape.
And Chris Lewis, because Chris Lewis has done some really epic dragons for them.
That's true, he has, yeah. Chris made it to the second round.
He did.
I wouldn't say his are better than Julie's, but he made it to the second round.
Yeah.
Clute says, based on my old high school DM, there's never enough red dragons. Gary Michael Crosby says, never enough dragons. Okay.
I feel like in the 3D printing space, what's his name? Lord of the Print has kind of dominated the dragon market space, I guess.
I think that's fair, but also,
I think his dragons have some really cool designs, but lack some of the sort of care that I take with print uh,
yeah,
compatibility
that.
and paint compatibility. So I think I have something to offer to that space,
That's fair.
but I think his designs are really really good. They're natural and some and unique, and they feel really good in a render.
Eric Jackson says, what about Dragon Trappers Guild? I think he means Dragon Trapper Lodge, probably.
Oh yeah.
And Clute says, yeah, Lord of the Print has some amazing dragons. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've looked at them and I've almost bought several of them. I definitely click on his dragons.
They're really good. I like his designs a lot.
But I'm also pretty meticulous about what Christy just described, because I want to be able to paint them and I don't want them to break too easily. And when I look at his stuff, I look at it and I think, wait a minute. Between that space and that space is a cavern, and then over here is this weird thing, and then this is way too thin to be durable. And you start to run into all of these. This is an excellent piece to print in like 5 different pieces, give it a good zenithal prime, colored zenithal prime, and set it on your display shelf, because it's an amazing looking dragon. But I think you're right. I think that lacks the.
I want to do it in as few parts as possible, and with the sort of approach of printable and paintable, easy to print and paint.
Yeah. Eric Jackson says Lord of the Print has some insane monthly deal. This month's Goblin was 70 gigabytes of
Oh my
models.
gosh.
Yeah. There's a lot of reposing in Lord of the Print stuff, which is fine when you're looking for horde stuff. Honestly,
Yeah,
reposing is
you
the
want like
ideal
a horde
solution.
of goblins. Like that's
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't done goblins for just that reason, right? Like, to do a competitive goblin set, you want a lot of goblins. And sculpting each one from scratch is just not viable
yeah, my
to do a
my
good goblin
method
horde.
to that is not ideal.
But yeah, other people's methods are just better for that. That's what's cool. That's what I love about the 3D printing space, is because there is a wide variety of methods to sculpt a mini. And each variation on each component of each method offers strength for different purposes. That was a very wordy explanation, so let me try that again. Lots of different ways to do various aspects of a model. Depending on which combination of those techniques you utilize is going to offer you different benefits. People that do lots of similar looking models use very different approaches. You're using a T-pose model and then tweaking that 50 times. You're not sculpting from scratch 50 models. And that's cool, because I would rather have 50 T-pose models that have been tweaked for goblins than 8 of the same goblin on my table. Because those would
For
be the
sure.
choices. Right? Now, I do think that makes for some opportunity for some great cooperative releases down the road where you find somebody that works like that and they make the horde and you make the leader types. Because that method does not make as cool or dynamic or as easily printable of a leader type.
Yeah.
Just have to find the right person that wants to do a goblin horde. And just do it up where, yeah, each tribe offers the other tribe a free trial for that month.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We had somebody reach out to us yesterday asking if we did STLs on Patreon, which we haven't done. We tried that way back in the day, and it's just silly to have that in two places. So we do our physical releases on Patreon. If you want models shipped to you, we do that on Patreon. And if you want STLs, it's on my mini factory. And yeah, once I told them that we didn't have them on Patreon, they never heard from them again. What was really weird is they contacted me on my mini factory. They didn't contact me through Patreon and ask, hey, can I get your models through Patreon? They contacted me on my mini factory and asked for it, which I thought was really strange.
Super weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, we should look at wrapping up.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to look into stopping. I figured you had time to do the weapons real quick or
Yeah.
blocked in versions of these.
Yeah, I'm
Normally, I
thinking.
would say no space between the wrist and the weapon, but I think on this one, it's going to be worth the payoff to have it arc away from the arm and come back to it. Maybe not.
I
Maybe
don't
that's
know.
just the embossing. But we could also do it hollowed out, where it has a hollow center.
Maybe I was gonna do.
Yeah, Eric Jackson says you just need to find someone whose style is compatible. Yeah.
I was just gonna do like Elven script or
Yeah,
something
they
on it.
feel a little heavy to me, as is. But there are a lot of different ways we can address that. Let's just do a duplicate temporary to put on the other arm so we can get a good screenshot render. I do think this model in particular is a great example of what you can do not starting in T-pose that would be near impossible. Not quite impossible, but near impossible starting in T-pose. Getting all of that anatomy correct, you'd be resculpting the whole model anyway. Too many of the muscles bend in different ways and flex in different ways based off of the pose that you can't just stretch it around. I think come way up higher on the side with that, as usual. You you're looking for the boy shorts line.
You don't want that. No, I was going for the Frazetta line,
Oh, I guess that works too.
which is
Where
like
it's hanging
way
halfway
down.
off. Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's okay. That works. one way or the other. Either the Frazetta line, where it's almost hanging off, or the resurfaced. Because if you haven't noticed, that's the new bikini trend. It's all gone back to that, the really high sides.
It's awful.
I find it fascinating that just based off of which decade you were born in, whether you find that attractive or not.
I'm also not into the micro bikini trend. Like, come
Micro
on.
bikini, no, I don't like that. Uh, Zach says, first, I like these weapons. As an aside, can you imagine trying to pick things up while wearing them? Yeah, that was the one reason that I was like, I don't know about strapping it to the arm, but I just can't picture trying to use it without it being strapped. Clute says, Edward's Ed, uh, Edward 40 hands. Edwina Blade Hands from Zach. Mm, the angle that you're having that flop from is opposite of what it should be.
Whatever.
Okay.
It's irrelevant.
All right. You're like, we're not showing the back anyway. It doesn't matter.
Correct.
Eric Jackson says she doesn't pick stuff up. She just stabs it. That's fair.
Like, you want an apple? Yes. That sounds amazing.
That's how you make sure it's not you're not inadvertently eating from a malicious dryad. You just jab it
Yeah.
into the apple.
Stab it first.
It says you always hope that they vomit after the bottle are removed. Oh, drinking game
What?
where you duct tape 40-ounce malt liquors to both hands until you finish them. I see. Valandar says the advantage of it is not being strapped is if the blade was side to side, mini tonfa strikes pivot forward around the handle. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally see that. Uh, where you could just swing it out.
Ah, Valandar says she has triggers on the handles that activate the mage hand spell to pick things up.
Yeah, there you go.
Zach says they are great bottle openers. Glute says that's what he was thinking. Yeah, I think this is good. I'm wondering if a physical topless version of this would be good, but maybe not. I think it loses some of the elegance if you take it to the crude, and that would feel crude.
Yeah, I think then you lose what the interesting part about the design is, being
Yeah.
the weird juxtaposition.
Zach says OG pocket knife can opener things, or like the one blade in your Leatherman that never gets used, the weird can opener that doesn't work. And Zach says he did used to use those when camping. Okay.
That's just you, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
If you take this V too far down, it gets Tinkerbelly.
Does that make it too far? Or does that make it just right? Huh? Huh?
Hard to say, I guess.
I mean, you're the Tinkerbell fan. You tell me.
All right, who are we reading?
Eric Jackson says, don't cover too much of her abs. Yeah, that's my feeling too. Really want the abs section visible. I'm looking for who to raid as we speak. I think we'll do Jimmy the Brush. Zach says, or too much of that booty. Booty, booty, booty.
Booty, 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 rocking everywhere.
Valandar says he's been fighting a replacement nozzle for his airbrush that arrived clogged.
Oh,
Yikes.
that sucks.
I've found nothing works better than what's his name over at Badger? What is that guy's name? So bad with names.
I don't know. The guy from Badger, that's all I know
Yeah,
him as.
yeah. Uh, he always said was it's a 1 part bleach to 10-part water is the ideal cleaning solution for this part. Valandar says, Jimmy the Brush? All right, I'm leaving. See ya. Not a Jimmy the Brush fan, Valandar? Well, I like Jimmy the Brush. All right, yeah, I'm always curious. Give me a holler. All right, I will start the raid when you're ready, honey.
Yeah, go ahead. So here's where we are on Savannah.
Coming along quite well for a couple hours work.
Yeah.
Base is
And
done. Anatomy's mostly done.
I
Maybe all the
will
way done.
post some whip pictures in the Discord for everyone to kind of chat about, and uh, I'll post finished pictures once I get her finished up. But thanks for hanging out with us and talking about wood elves and dragons. Um, we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Carrie Michael Crosby says, looks fantastic.
Thanks, Carrie. Glad you got to hang out with us.
For sure. Uh, everybody take care, and we will see you next time. Friday. I think Friday. Say goodbye.
Bye.
And we're out.